जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदनंदन व्रजनरंजन यशोदनंदन व्रजनरंजन यमुना तीरावनचारी यमुना तीरावनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव राधा माधव राधे जय निताय गौरंग जय निताय गौरंग निताय गौरंग जय निताय गौरंग जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय विष्णुपाद ब्रह्मस्वयादिकाचार्य स्तोत्र जद श्री श्री हिज वेंकटेश सभा चरणारविंद भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की वृंददेव तुलसी मिरण की वृंदरा श्रीमद् भागवतम की मिताय गौर प्रनंदे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नारायण नमस्कृत्य रंजय नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवति उत्तमा श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 30, Discussions of Adverse Fruitive Activities, Text number 20. Yatana deha avritya Pashair badva gale bala Aito dirgam advanam Dandyam Rajabhatayata Yatana deha avritya Pashair badva gale bala Nayato dirgam advanam Dandyam Rajabhatayata Purport word meaning. Yatana, for punishment. Dehe, his body. Avritya, covering. Ashayihi, with ropes. Badva, binding. Gale, by the neck. Balat, by force. Nayataha, they lead. Dirgham, long. Advanam, distance. Dandyam, a criminal. Rajabhataha, the king's soldiers. Yata, as. Translation purport by Jaganmohan by Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Translation. As a criminal is arrested for punishment by the constables of the state, a person engaged in criminal sense gratification is similarly arrested by the Yamadutas, who bind him by the neck with strong rope and cover his subtle body so that he may undergo severe punishment. Please repeat the translation. As a criminal is arrested for punishment by the constables of the state, a person engaged in criminal sense gratification is similarly arrested by the Yamadutas, who bind him by the neck with strong rope and cover his subtle body so that he may undergo severe punishment. Purport. Every living entity is covered by a subtle and gross body. The subtle body is a covering of mind, ego, intelligence and consciousness. It is said in the scriptures that the constables of Yamaraja cover the subtle body of the culprit and take him to the abode of Yamaraja to be punished in a way that he is able to tolerate. He does not die from this punishment, because if he died, then who would suffer the punishment? It is not the business of the constables of Yamaraja to put one to death. In fact, it is not possible to kill a living entity because factually he is eternal. He simply has to suffer the consequences of his activities of sense gratification. The process of punishment is explained in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Formerly, the king's men would take a criminal in a boat in the middle of the river. They would dunk him by grasping a bunch of his hair and thrusting him completely underwater. And when he was almost suffocated, the king's constables would take him out of the water and allow him to breathe for some time. And then they would again dunk him in the water to suffocate. This sort of punishment is inflicted upon the forgotten soul by Yamaraja, as will be described in the following verses. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Jnanatimirandasya Gnanjanashalakaya Chakshormilitam Mena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Pachyata Desatarini Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktarinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Yatana Deha Avrityaha, by covering his body for the purpose of punishment. Pashair Badva Gale Balat. They'll put a rope around his neck and forcefully they will Nayato Dirgham Advanam. They will take him for a long distance. Just like Dandyam Raja Bhatayata, just like a criminal is punished by the king's soldiers. Likewise, a family man who is very attached, and what is the problem with the family man who is attached? Because due to his attachment, he has to maintain his family. For the sake of maintaining his family, he has to indulge a lot of sinful activities. And those sinful activities are resulting in getting punishment. What kind of punishment? He will be arrested. He will be forcefully taken away by Yamadutas. So what they will do by taking away this attached person or materialistic person, they will punish him in Yamaloka. So how they will punish? So a suitable body will be provided for the person to experience that pain. See, in this material world also people experience a lot of pains, but sometimes what will happen? Unbearable pain. Due to unbearable pain, they want to shed their body. They want to give up their body unnaturally. That's called suicide. Because they are not able to take up any more physical or mental problems. That's how they give up the body. That means they die. So here Srila Prabhupada writes, if he dies, then whatever punishment he has to go through, who will go through? Whatever suffering he has to go through, who will go through? So Yamadutas knows this mentality of the jiva, he will not be able to handle beyond certain degree. So what they do? They will not immediately give a gross body, one more gross body. To a subtle body, one more covering will be given. With that body, you will be experiencing the pain, but you will not be able to give up that body. You will not be able to give up. That freedom, that free will not be there. So one has to suffer like this. Now the situation is, why anybody has to get into such kind of situation? Because this whole chapter is about adverse putative activities. If somebody do viparita karya, which is unnatural to the, not only the soul. See, everything is unnatural in this world. Everything is unnatural to the soul's condition. Because soul constitutionally is servant of Krishna. But even though in such kind of unnatural, this whole material existence itself is unnatural to the soul, but even in this world, in the material existence, a soul supposed to lead, or the life supposed to lead in a particular way, especially human form of life, for the purpose of regaining our lost consciousness or forgotten consciousness. So there is a Prakriti. Prakriti means nature. So nature made some kind of arrangement in this world, and Lord established a system how a human being is supposed to lead in this world. That system was actually brought forth by Manu Samhita. Actually, whatever we see here, see, everybody says that the relationships in this world, all these relationships are actually established by Manu, because Manu is the one who, the very intention of Lord Brahma to bring the human beings, the human form of body, and with that intention, Manu was entrusted a responsibility. If you remember that past time, after Manu taken birth, Brahmaji says that now you bring forth all the human beings, but he says human beings supposed to live on earth planet. But there is no earth planet, I am not able to see earth planet, where I should bring the human beings, he says. You remember? So that's how they, the Lord finds, then Brahma goes and prays to the Lord Vishnu, and Lord Vishnu figures out that, oh, earth was stolen by Hiranyaksha. It's taken away by Hiranyaksha from the orbit, from the mandala. So that's how Lord Varahadeva appears and kills Hiranyaksha and bring back the earth to its original position, then placed in the orbit. then the Manu brings the human beings and he established the system. So many times this contradiction will be there. Sometimes people ask that how come, recently also somebody was asking how he married he, that we see that how Vishnu and Lakshmi Devi both has born from one womb. They both was born as a brother and sister, but they got married later on. How that is, why Lord is appearing like that, where Lord wanted to establish the principles of Dharma, but how all these things are happening. So these things, the human society was brought forth and a discipline was brought into the human society so that they don't get lost in this sense gratification. They don't behave like animals. Animals means that there's no difference between animals and humans if that finer thing is not there. What is the finer thing? Finer thing is that only humans can understand, only human beings can hear about the purpose of life, goal of life, and can understand and work in the process, where animals doesn't have that ability. So, what is that thin line which makes them different from the animals? That was brought forth in the Manu Samhita. But today, Manu Samhita is treated as if it is it is irrelevant, and people have so much of different kind of opinion. So, but all these subject matters mention that how a human being is supposed to behave himself, not to get into this adverse fruitive activities, because the Prakriti, the nature spreads, and the Lord made some kind of arrangement that he calls the Varnashram system, and that arrangement of the Lord was established by Manu in the system, Varnashram system. So if you follow that system which is established by the Lord, then you will not get into hell. If you follow, even though you are not completely purified, but because you are following the system as established by the Lord, that is naturally, supposed to be accomplished in this world, then you will not go to hell. That's what Prabhupada explains in the previous purport. There are two kinds of transmigration of the living entity after passing away from the present body. One kind of transmigration is to go to the controller of sinful activities, who is known as Amaraja. Why? Who goes there? The people who perform sinful activities. Sinful activities means adverse fruitive activities. It's not told that working for fruitive activities is wrong. Adverse fruitive activities. Even if you wanted to have fruit, if you wanted to have enjoyment in this world, doesn't matter. You enjoy as prescribed, as directed, as given the direction. Dharma, artha, kama, moksha. Kama is there. Pleasure, experience of pleasure from the senses is there, they're permitted, but in line with dharma. So that's what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. Dharma aviruddha kamosmi. I am that kama which is not against the religious principles. So, but adverse fruitive activities are just you're driven by that mentality to enjoy, and for that you are ready to do anything and everything. You are ready to break any principles for that matter. You are not. So what will happen to such kind of people? They'll, after giving up this body, the transmigration, he'll go to hell. He'll go to hell. Yamadutas take away. If you die, then whom is taking away? Now, dying means what? Dying means just giving up this body. We have two bodies. One is gross body, another is a subtle body. As Krishna says, Bhumira ponalo vayu kammano buddhirevacha ankara itiyame binna prakriti rastada. These are my energies, my potencies. This whole prakriti is made out of 8 elements, 5 gross elements and 3 subtle elements. So the whole universe is made out of this 8 elements. Even our body, which is part of this whole universe, is also made out of 8 elements. So what is grossly what is visible is made out of 5 elements: Bhumir, Apaha, Analaha, Vayu, Ka. Sky, Akasha, space. And 3 subtle body, 3 elements, subtle body. Mind, intelligence, and ego, false ego. And further, which is contaminated consciousness, as Prabhupada mentioned this purport. These are 4 elements which are constituting the subtle body. Mind, intelligence, false ego, and the contaminated consciousness, Chittam. So, Yamadutas take away this subtle body, Sukshma Sharira. So there is no death for Sukshma Sharira. Death means just giving it the body. As Krishna explains, Dehinosmin nida dehi komaram yamanam jira tada dehantara prapti. Once you give this body, one more body will accept it. But what is the basis for accepting one more body? The basis to accept one more body is the kind of impressions we have stored in our subtle body. The mind is everything, whatever activities we are performing, these activities are stored in the form of impressions in the mind, in the subtle body. So the subtle body carries the Atma. So Atma is bandituvaya. It is, is not free in this material world. Is not able to freely fly. It required some kind of covering to move here. Just like the astronauts, they cannot freely move in the space. They have to wear spaceship. Or they have to get into the spaceship. They have to wear, what is it called? Space suit. Otherwise they cannot be in the space. First of all, why they have to be in the space? If they cannot, externally they have to wear, why? That is their desire. So who is the culprit here? Culprit is not just subtle body. Culprit is not just the reactions of your actions. Culprit is that your very desire. The desire is forcing us to act in this world, and the activities are producing reactions or impressions. Those impressions are getting stored in the mind, and the mind, the subtle body, and mind in the sense those impressions brings a lot of ego. You get so much attached to it that those impressions are taking the soul along. When the body gives up, then that subtle body takes the soul along with there to the next womb, to the next body. But before getting to the next body, before getting to or accepting one more gross body, what happens? He will go to hell. He will go to hell. So that's how it is very important. No doubt, desires are there. Desires are expressed to this Chittam. The Chittam means the contaminated consciousness. The desire is a faculty of the soul. What is the natural desire? Natural desire, even in the conditioned life also you can understand, natural desire is everybody wants to be happy. Everybody wants to be happy. So that is the very characteristic of the soul. But that is expressed through the contaminated consciousness in this world. Consciousness is polluted. Chetana is polluted. And when it is expressed in the contaminated consciousness, and all senses become activated because the signal is coming to all the senses from the mind. And everybody get activated and start acting and accumulating the results. So gross body is facilitated by subtle body to accept a new gross body. So moment gross body is obtained, then the process itself is, even obtaining the gross body, the very process itself is very painful. After accepting the gross body, anyway we are going to a lot of difficulties, lot of troubles. But even to accept the gross body, that itself is a painful situation. Actually, punishment starts there. Punishment doesn't start after accepting the body. Even The process of accepting body itself is a punishment. Just like when a mother is pregnant, of course in the olden days, only maybe after 5 months, 6 months, mother start feeling that movement of the child in the body. But nowadays, the scanners and all there, medical advancement, with the scanning they show, even though you are not able to feel, mother is not able to feel, but they will show in the screen that how child is moving inside. The fetus is actually moving. And everybody takes so much of pleasure, so much of joy. See, child is dancing inside, child is moving inside, and so much of joy enhances. Is it really child is dancing inside the womb? It is a pleasurable activity for the child inside. But outside, mother and everybody, whoever see the screen, they are very joyful and they celebrate. And the celebration is so much so that every day I should be very joyful. Because my child is dancing inside. So if I give more and more pleasurable kind of situation so that he can dance a little more inside. Is that foolishness? No. It's ignorance. Foolishness means what? Ignorance. How much pain the child is going through inside the body. But whereas outside, people are thinking that, of course, natural, it is a mother who is pregnant, her consciousness is going to affect the child, so naturally she should be happy, joyful. But how people are trying to be joyful and happy? Oh, listen very soothing music. Eat nice items. Nice items what? Generally pregnant woman likes. Pregnant woman generally likes katta. Mangoes, katta mango. Eat nice katta. Then being joyful, partying, being with the people, going to different places. Basically what they want to do, they want to be happy without an anxiety. But what to do for that, to not to be anxiety, to be happy, people are not aware. Two reasons. One is they themselves are ignorant, and second thing is everything what they perceive is also in ignorance. They don't know what they're supposed to do when they're pregnant. Because no knowledge outside. That's how they keep doing whatever they like. And what they like, what is driven by their subtle body. And what is driven by subtle body? Likings and dislikings are in the mind, sankalpa and vikalpa. That is based on their activities, the kind of impressions they stored in the mind. You see, it's so much settled down. Like recently I met one person on food festival day. I asked, how are you, ma? He said, Prabhu, I'm not feeling so happy. Why? She is a South Indian basically. She suddenly came to North India, to Ahmedabad. I'm not able to survive with this food. See the kind of impressions. So many years you are accustomed eating in one particular kind of food. The moment you come to Ahmedabad, you are not able to accommodate, adjust with this thing. And that impressions, your eating habits are developed, and impressions in the mind, these impressions are developed. So your ananda, your pleasure or anxiety or dukkha is purely based on the kind of impressions you are carrying in the mind. It's nothing to do with the food. After some time, the same food will become normalized again here. Today, your suffering or happiness or suffering is purely based on the kind of impressions you are carrying in your mind. And the impressions you are carrying in the mind is coming from the actions. You see? So that's what Shastra says, what exactly you're supposed to do in your life. Not based on what you like, not based on how you perceive the world. You have to see, Shastra says that child in the womb is suffering. Child in the womb is not dancing, is not joyful there. Say for example, your child is suffering, say external gross child is suffering, what you will do? You like to do whatever pleases you like to do, or you like to do something to take care of the child? Isn't it? It's common sense, no? But nobody is bothered about what child needs in the womb. They're thinking, of course, Poshana comes to the child from the mother, but not from mother's interests, not from mother's impressions. But what mother is doing based on the mother's impressions, what she is carrying. And that impressions are actually dukkha. He is causing dukkha. And already child is suffering inside. Now furthermore dukkha you are facilitating. So Shastra says, when child in the womb, he's sitting in a sack. He's not able to breathe. He's suffering inside. Now when mother knows these things from Shastra, and what she's supposed to do, she's supposed to favor the child by chanting the holy name of the Lord, by hearing Krishna Katha, by praying for the child. That's why in our samskara, every activity is centered around God consciousness. See, for example, according to Vedic calendar, the new year comes that first day of Navaratri. That's called Yugadi in South India, Gudi Padwa in Maharashtra. At the most of the India, the same day, it is Chaitra Pratipada. Navaratri, first day of Navaratri, 9th day of Navaratri is the Ramanavami. What is the practices? The new year means, what is the practices generally? Everybody has to take bath, wear new clothes, and go to temple and do puja. Ghar mein bhi puja karo, mandir mein puja karo. The whole concept of celebration is centered around the God. You take any festival, any event, everything centered around God. Please tell me, how many people are celebrating the new year, Yugadi? Hardly anybody celebrates. Hardly anybody celebrates. But just yesterday, New Year, just like almost like next to Janmashtami, that much crowd was there. Don't think that they all are coming for the puja part. Gumne firne mein, they also added temple. The kind of number of people come here, the number of people goes to the different parties are fragment, not even 1%, not even fraction, 0.01% people would have come off Ahmedabad, would have come to the temple. Because today the celebration means centered around sense gratification. In the olden days, celebration means centered around God. Centered around God. So just like that, a mother supposed to take care of the child who is there in the womb by knowing child is suffering in the womb. It's not a pleasure trip for child to come to the womb. It's not a pleasure trip. It's a painful trip. Very, very painful. When mother knows that kind of situation, then she starts preparing child to how to deliver the child. Only Krishna can deliver. Let me take shelter of Krishna. That's how, in the whole samskara, it explains everything is meant to elevation. Garbhadana samskara. Then what is it called? that is Godbari, Godbhar. क्या बोलते इसको? Godbara, what is it? Sanskrit, what is the name of that? The seventh month they do a ceremony for a woman, pregnant woman. Anyway, so every event centered around remembering the Lord and attributing the handovering the child's responsibility in the hands of the Lord. So, just imagine a person is kept in a tight bag and you want to be very joyful so that child will be joyful. And what is the joy which is you are gaining by singing music or singing or dancing to the tunes or the melodious tunes, where child will be able to experience, where child will be able to dance, or a child will be able to be happy with such kind of this thing. Inside, stool, urine, blood, and with all these dravya, there is a ushna, there is a temperature, there is a, in the stomach, in the womb, there is a ushna, heat, and there is a smelling like anything. So actually punishment starts in the womb of the mother. After birth, all the situations are punishments only. But the problem is that what is that punishment? Nobody understands. Punishment means doing something which we don't like. No child likes to go to school, but you are forced to go to school. Anything which you don't like, you are forced to do. That means it's a punishment. And later on, that punishment you consider it is a very natural, normal. Things normalize. This is what exactly this is what exactly the Prabhupada gives that analogy of frog in the boiling water. Get adjusted. When the temperature raised to 50 degrees, 60 degrees, die. No preparation is done to get out of this. So that's what is mentioned here. Thus the man who engaged with uncontrolled senses, maintaining a family. Who engaged with uncontrolled senses in maintaining the family. Who engaged in uncontrolled senses. This is the situation at the end. First of all, he thinks that is a duty. He thinks that is a natural duty for him to maintain his family. And for that, senses are driven in a particular direction, which are causing sinful reactions or sinful activities. And finally it results in what? Yatana deha avritya. He will be covered with a body which has to get, which you have to experience punishment without giving up. That's sense. As a criminal, he is arrested for a punishment by the constable of the state. You see, even in Varnashram system also, now in the modern days is the police, in the Varnashram system also, the Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, Desha Kshatriya, the administrator, he monitors, he facilitates all the other three categories. And if they don't follow the rules and regulations, if they don't follow the constitution of the kingdom, then they'll be punished. So, but how to see this whole, the law of karma made by the Lord, Yamadharmaraj, we say is representative of God, is one of the demigod, Devata, who is arrangement with the Lord. How to see this whole thing, punishment? Why? Okay, Jiva did some mistake. Why Jiva cannot be brought out? Why, birth after birth, the birth after birth after birth, getting into another womb, and before going to another womb, again this going to hell, getting punishment there. See, first of all, the one who don't understand, the very life itself is hell. This world itself is hell. Avash, without fail, he will go to that hell. The one who understands this world itself is hell, there is a possibility he can avoid going to that hell. There is a possibility. So this whole arrangement is actually how to see this whole arrangement. This hell or that hell. If somebody considers this hell as a heaven, then what will happen? Prabhupada says that story that a person who is working in what are they called? Mines, coal mines. Doesn't ज़्यादा फर्क ही नहीं पड़ता है ना? No difference for him whether this place or that place. Both are same only. Both are dark. So human life is not meant for that. All this system which is made by the Lord in this world, it is actually Lord's extraordinary mercy on the souls, on the jivas. Actually, punishment is meant to facilitate the soul to realize his mistakes and go back to Godhead. And that facility is provided in human beings. There are 84 lakh species are there. In the 84 lakh species, only the particular species, human form of body has that facility to understand and realize, oh, this is the greatest mistake I did. What I am experiencing in this world is not simply some joy or some pleasure. Life is not just meant for eating. Of course, eating is necessity of the life. But जीने के लिए खाना जरूरी है, लेकिन खाने के लिए नहीं जीना चाहिए. Life is not meant for eating. Eating is required for life. Without eating, nobody can survive. That's why eating, sleeping, mating, and defending, these are the necessities of life in this world. Whether animals, whether the birds, or the humans. Every life has to have to these things. But human form of body has given higher ability to understand the subject matter. So this is only humans are released if they are samskaris, if they are cultured, if they understand some basic, and if they come to the basic understanding of this material world. Just like some prisoners are released from the prison, who develop the Sat Pravartana. Again, if he comes back, one comes to the human form of body after going through all the 80 lakh species of life. Once he enters the human form of body, he can develop by understanding higher subject matter. He can develop higher consciousness and not be a Sat Pravartana, not just living like animals. One category of people. Another category of the people is that he mess up life without again having proper guidance. Again he can, he glide down to the lower species. He thinks it's okay. Life is jaise chal raha hai, chalne dijiye. But he doesn't understand this, how Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi, these are the real problems, real anxieties, real punishments. Punishment, don't think that punishment is only after Yamadharmaraj, Yamadutas comes and takes away and put them in the hell and they are getting punished. Punishment is there even in this world. But that punishment is, you cannot escape. Even this punishment also you cannot escape, if you don't take shelter of Krishna. They don't realize. In fact, Vyadis, they can understand it is a problem, it is a kind of punishment, it is a kind of dukkhalayam. But most of the people don't understand birth as a punishment, birth as a dukkha. It gives dukkha. That's how they celebrate a happy birthday, happy birthday. Where is the happy? In the name of celebrating happy birthday, in fact, they indulge more sinful activities. Partying and accumulation of more sins, more punishment is awaiting. So that's how the first realization should be, nothing is happening in this world due to me. Everything is happening by the arrangement of external potency of the Lord. Prakriti kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvashaha. If somebody doesn't understand this aspect, why he doesn't understand? Vimudhatma. And why that Vimudhatma? Why he is foolishly thinking like that? Ahankara. Because he is having so much of ahankara that he is identifying himself with this body, then he thinks everything is happening because of me only. Kartaham iti manyate. So first realization is that everything is happening in this world by the arrangement of the Lord, not by me. I am forced to act in this world. So that Atma Jnana is very important. Who knows the constitution country will appreciate the police action. Otherwise you keep blaming, why police coming and arresting this person, why is arresting. Because he doesn't feel he is a criminal. He doesn't even identify what he did is mistake. He says, I don't know. Actually, grossly people who are doing the mistakes, everybody knows. Once they catch, they'll get punished. They all know. So likewise, without the one who knows Shastra, without knowing Shastra is ignorance. One who knows Shastra will appreciate Lord's arrangement in this world. Lord made such kind of arrangement here so that we can realize how difficult life here is. Why such kind of the life is difficult against my wish and will. That we'll be able to appreciate. Otherwise, if you don't know, if you don't read Shastra, if you don't associate with the spiritual master, then there is every possibility you keep blaming the Lord. Why bad people are enjoying? Why good people are suffering in this world? Very difficult to understand this law of karma unless somebody reads the scriptures. Very, very difficult. Very complicated science actually it is. There is a reason he said one has to understand subject matter with tattvataha, in reality. The one who understands the subject matter in reality, vadanti tattva vidastattvam yajnanam advayam. He will come to the understanding of, ultimately he has to come to the understanding of Bhagavan. Oh, everything is driven by, not just potency, not just prakriti, everything is driven by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, going to hell is a very fearful situation, and that is causes, sin is causing. So, everybody is thinking, what they are doing is not sin. Everybody is thinking what they are doing is the natural way of life. And they keep advising others also, आप भी ऐसे कीजिए, ऐसे जिए. See, people doesn't even know what is right, what is wrong in this world. People who are eating eggs, they'll go and tell, why are you eating meat? Don't eat meat, it's non-vegetarian, you are killing animals. Eating egg is okay. See, his understanding is that much. But he doesn't think, okay, one advice is good, but what he is doing is also wrong. And some people claim, oh, we are not killing. We are not killing. Somebody is killing, somebody is selling, so I only purchased. What is available in the market, that only I can purchase and eat. But these people don't know. Not only the killer, there are 6 people equally sharing the sin. animal killers, the 6 people equally sharing the sin. The one who is selling that animal, the one who is cutting that animal, and the one who is doing trading or business, one who is cooking, one who is eating, all 6 people equally or whatever proportion they are sharing the sin. Some people say that no, we don't do any harm, we don't do any crime, we don't kill even plants for that matter. No? Some spiritualists or some communities, they don't eat carrot or potato because they are the roots. If you have to take out that, you have to take out the plant. Fruits and flowers anyway, you don't want to kill the plant for that matter. They think that we don't want to kill any. But the reality is, okay, you are not killing that particular plant, you are not taking out that particular root, but so many germs you are killing while talking. Well, naturally, okay, the regular food which is not roots, other food what you are eating, when you are eating, so many germs you are killing. उससे कैसे बचेंगे आप? So actually only devotees are safe. Nobody is safe in this world. Whether you adopt this way or that way, somewhere or other you are inflicted with some kind of sin. Okay, हो सकता है छोटा मोटा हो सकता है कुछ. Some sins are very grievous, some sins are little less impactful. So nobody is safe. Safe means what? Safe means they don't get influenced by these problems. Problems are going to be there. Don't think that devotees will not become sick, devotees will not become diseased, devotees will not become old age, devotees will not die. But they will not get affected by these things. Problems will be there for everyone. Dukkha alama shashvatam. This world is full of dukkha. So the punishment is meant only for realization. That's what Prabhupada says, that the first and foremost realization is that this world is created by the Lord for the understanding, for get out of this world. So punishment is meant for realization. Then why this sin? Then why this crime? Because many don't even know this. Even government doesn't know what is the crime. That's how they removed this capital punishment. Mrityu danda, they removed. It is there still in the Indian constitution, but practically they don't give. Very rarely you see, only once in 10 years, once in 20 years you'll see somebody, and maybe like terrorists like Kasab, such kind of people. Very hardly you'll see. At least in our knowledge, only 2-3 people we heard. 21. Bas itni. And many countries actually even removed that also. Because they don't consider what is the sin, what is the crime, they don't even understand. Shastra says that 6 kind of akataina, atatai. The 6 kinds of people are should be given mrityudanda. One who steals others' wife, one who put the fire for the house, and what all? One who takes away somebody's land. Aggressors, these are aggressors. But today government doesn't have, they doesn't know what is actually a sin. So one will be able to understand what is sin, how to escape from this punishment. Only the one who reads scriptures, only one who hears from the bona fide spiritual master. In fact, we also don't know, a few years back, we also don't know what is that sin, what is right, what is wrong. Anda ita anda rupaniyamana. We are also guided by the society. In our houses, they were eating meat, we are also eating meat. As simple as that. Nobody knows it is a sin. Anda ita andar. The blind people are guiding. So by by Sukruti. Who knows, many lives of Sukruti got accumulated. Or by the effect of the golden age which is going on. Or by the causeless message of Srila Prabhupada. We are able to understand the subject matter, we are able to appreciate. Hence we are following certain discipline. And there is a desire now, because we are following certain discipline, there is a desire is coming out, how to come out of this jail, how to come out of this prison, how to come out of this material existence. And one day, without fail, we can get out of this material world. And for that, with that attitude, with that mood, we have to perform this sadhana. Prabhupada says very important statement. The progress in Krishna consciousness depends on the attitude of the follower. Attitude of the follower. With what attitude you perform the sadhana? Sadhana should not be for the status purpose. It's not for the name and fame. It's not for the position. It's meant to express our Sharanagati. Is meant to, is a full Sharanagati to the Guru's instructions. That will be the mood. Like it is said in scriptures, any sampatti or any ability, anything, whatever you have, in three ways you can utilize it. Wealth can be utilized in three ways. One is by dana, another is by bhoga, and third is by three states of wealth, opulences. Another is by नष्ट हो जाएगा, नाश हो जाएगा. या भोगो या दान करो, दोनों नहीं करेंगे तो नाश हो जाएगा. It says दानम भोगो नाशो अस्ति, नाशोस्ति. Whether you enjoy it or you give in charity, otherwise it will become नष्ट हो जाएगा. It will become lost, it will become vanquished. So today whatever ability we have, if you enjoy for sense gratification, where you will reach, very clearly told you where you will reach. We will go to hell. If you do dana, what will happen? Some sukruti you will gain, millions of life, millions of life, millions of life. You have to keep waiting. If you don't do both things, anyway it's going to be, time is going to take away everything. So, the best way to utilize all that is to engage in the service of the Lord. If we don't engage in the service of the Lord, these are three ways things will happen in this world. So that's why Prabhupada writes in this purport that the process of punishment is very severe, which is explained in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. And one of the example, Prabhupada cites from Chaitanya Charitamrita what exactly describes. Formerly the king's men would take a criminal in a boat in the middle of the river. They would dunk him by grasping a bunch of his hair and thrusting him completely underwater. And when he was almost suffocated, the king's constables would take him out of the water and allow him to breathe for some time. And then they would again dunk him in the water of suffocate. So basically you see, they are not allowing you to die. ज़्यादा समय पानी में रखेंगे तो क्या मर जाएंगे आप? So मर जाएगा तो कौन, who will suffer? Intention is to make you suffer. That's what happens in hell. They doesn't allow you to die. Death means what? You have to, death is there only for the gross body. So they don't give a gross body there. They will give one more subtle body. You already have one subtle body, they will give one more body, which has to covering to the soul. And with that body we will suffer. So to get out of this, only means is manmaya mam upashrita. Manmaya mam upashrita. Take my shelter and always think of me. And how to do that? Jnana tapasa, bahu jnana tapasa puta mad bhavam agataha. You acquire knowledge have access to the divine knowledge, Divya Jnana, and tapasa, you lead the life in the direction. Perform tapasya, perform sadhana. Then puta means you'll become purified. Puta madbhavam agataha. Once you completely become purified by the process of jnana and tapasa. And how that is possible? How you'll be able to attain, how you'll be able to take this knowledge and perform sadhana? Only when you give up the attachment. Vita raga vayakroda manmaya mamupashrita. So this whole problem, this whole chapter is about what the adverse fruitive activities, which is coming due to the attachment to the family matters. So one has to give up that attachment. And what is the problem with attachment? You forced to engage in sinful activities. So to come out of this attachment only means is manmaya mamupashritaha. We have to take shelter of a pure devotee. We have to take shelter of Krishna. By that way we will become purified. Taking shelter of Krishna, that means sadhana has to be there. Jnana tapasa. Jnana tapasa is meaning is sadhana. We have to perform austerities in knowledge by knowing the subject matter. We'll stop here in question or comments.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. In the beginning you said that a person is not able to bear the pain, so he gives up the body, commits suicide. So in other situations like accidents or illness or some violent attack, it is because of pain the body leaves the soul, soul leaves the body.
No, accident is due to, because the law of karma is acting on him, the reactions are coming in that particular way. Accident is only accident for you and me. But as for the Kala, it is a properly designed murder. Properly designed. That is the way he has to die. It is a total planned arrangement how that soul should be taken away from the body. Because without notice it is happening, that's called accident. Without notice is happening, that's called accident. With notice is happening, that is not called accident. Like if I say old age, somebody die, accident ho gaya nahi bolta hai, because after old age naturally you have to die. But achanak se ho raha hai, that's shock. What is it called in English? Trauma. You'll go through traumatic situation. So it is arrangement by the Kala. Karmana daiva netrina jantur dehu upatyate. Dehu upatyate. देह उपपत्ति थे, मतलब आपको प्राप्त कराना है तो पहले चीज को छोड़ना पड़ेगा ना. And who is seeing? The divine Acer watching. Next question.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Prabhu, just like you mentioned that if someone like there are 6 different people who shares sins by taking meat or something, like one who is purchasing, one who is cutting.
Says.
Yes. So Prabhu, similar way, if someone like doesn't purchase or in that sense he takes, but for example there is a grocery shop, if we buy something for something else, but that particular money is used to in some other activity, so still we are part of that sin.
What is it?
Like there is a grocery shop, everything is there, like meat and all, but we are not buying meat, but we are buying something else. But that particular person using that particular money to further increase his meat stock and anything else. So
that's how the world is very complicated. Best is chant Hare Krishna and be happy. Srimad Bhagavatam ki Vishwaguru Srila Prabhupada.